your profile.
Okay. Well, you can. I think if we're not neither of us are sharing, it could be moving backwards and forwards. But we're live. Yeah, here we go. It's Michael and Sam. It's the Kent Beck Scrum. I am on location. I am south of the river in London. I'm actually in the NHS headquarters building. This is the building in which all of the National Healthcare Service is run from in the UK. I've just been having a meeting here with the Healthy London Partnership, who have given us this small grant to develop a. Well, they're talking about a wiki. They want to have some sort of framework in order to help have the different commissioners who run the health services in all the different London boroughs coordinate with each other in order to sort of roll out this social prescribing model where doctors are able to prescribe sort of social activities in some cases. So yes, just had a successful meeting here and pretty much planning to spend a lot of time here next week doing kind of a sort of a design sprint to kind of get to the bottom of what's really going to have the most impact for them. Today I've had pairing with Ryder on Elixir, pairing in Ruby with Dimitri, get other bits and pieces done. Yeah, that's about the size of my report. Michael, how are things going with you?
Good. So I basically haven't done that much today, but yesterday I fixed up Amber's pull request that could potentially be pulled in for the Google Calendar link for an event. And she pulled in my changes, so that could be merged.
Okay, cool.
And then I'm waiting for I guess after this we'll do the kickoff, or
yeah,
at the end of this.
Yes,
and let's. Rose joined.
It does. Hey, Rose, how are you doing?
Good. How are you, Sam?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah.
How are you, Michael? Oh, sorry.
Good.
No. It's funny how there's always a little delay of different things and that. Yeah, Rose, anything report? Anything blocking you at the moment?
Well, my students and I think, made a lot of progress this week, but I'm working on something more of a personal nature, and I'm doubting that the modal dialogue testing is working properly. I mean, it's ironic because, of course, the code is working fine. If I take out the code that processes the modal dialogue, it fails properly. But if I put in the code and run the tests, I have kind of a Schrodinger's cat situation where it should either pass or fail, despite the scenario. And in one case it's passing, in the other case it's failing. And I think what's happening is that the modal just really isn't getting processed at all.
Interesting. And so is that on an individual project, or it's related somehow to the course?
Well,
or,
actually, when way back when, early this semester, when we downloaded the homework 3 Rails intro, and we were going through how it works and all that, just details. One of the things that I've been trying to do is, for each homework, make sure that there was a thorough test suite for everything. And do it, like, overdo it. Do it in Cucumber, do it in RSpec, do it in everything, just so that there are examples to hand of everything. And I discovered that that there was a silent failure. And I mean, to me, if there's a silent failure, that's a red light that I need to create a test. I mean, the code was easy to fix, but so to make sure that the code doesn't silently fail in the future, I was trying to do a set of tests, and it's proving to be more difficult than I thought. Basically,
so
go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, I don't know if you recall, but in the
Well,
the sample code, when there's a delete, there's a confirmation part to it, and that wasn't running. And of course, the confirmation is JavaScript, and so I kind of did this exploration of, how would you test that? And I recently installed a Phantom.js and Poltergeist, and was trying to get it to process it, but I am not at all sure that it's happening, and it's difficult to catch. I mean, I haven't been able to get any traction by using the debugger, for instance. And if you use instrumentation, it seems like it's running asynchronously, and that's like, that way lies madness.
Indeed. So I don't know if it's. I mean, I'm tethering on a phone at the moment, so I don't know if it's me, but Rose's audio, your audio is. I can approximately hear what you're saying, but it's not wonderful for me at the moment. I guess it sounds like an interesting challenge. I think that it sounds also something that I could probably give you a lot of help with, but I guess I think if you had like a link to a GitHub repo with the branch, like the latest state of the code, then I could probably pull it.
Yeah, I have. I of course, right now I'm working at it in
C9.
in C9. Yeah, and I did fork it from the SassBook repository, and I downloaded, I made a branch. I could, of course, upload what I've got so far to GitHub. By the way, I'm sorry about my sound. Our power has been going up and down since yesterday, so it's possible that there's some issues.
Yeah, it's entirely possible it's my end, because I say I'm on I've got like one bar on my phone. I'm surprised that you can hear me. You can hear me clearly at the moment.
Very clear.
Okay.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and our internet's been going up and down too. It's just, any moment it may go out.
Is that power bar or is that reception?
That's reception.
Oh.
And I'm here. I'm in their like little cafe, and I've actually plugged into the wall, so I've got full power. I mean, I could probably get better reception if I went outside, but yeah, I guess maybe it's not time to have a conversation. But Rose, I was recommending a post to Stack Overflow. I was getting a sense that you almost wanted to avoid posting to Stack Overflow to just sort of describe the problem.
Well, I've looked at all the recent posts on this subject. Well, first of all, this is a different problem than what I was talking about before. My question before really had more to do with which driver should I be using, because originally I didn't really want to, but I found the most information on Selenium, and I wasn't crazy about that solution because it's not headless. But as it turned out, I just had all kinds of issues with it. So then I said, well, maybe it's worth putting the time into WebKit driver, and at least I'd have a headless driver. And I couldn't get that to work at all. And I mean, just half the information I find, it's like it's missing stuff. It doesn't have context. It doesn't say where to put, what file they're talking about. And I was just getting so frustrated. And then the most recent questions have all gone unanswered.
Yes. When you say the most, right. And so I think that's a situation where I would, the advice that I give and what I do myself when I'm working through complex things is I write effectively a blog post or a Stack Overflow post describing by step. It's just like to serve for me as a reminder of all of the different pathways that I've taken and linking to all the different resources. And that's something that I think then is very enabling for other people to give me help. And I'd love to sort of dive more into the problem and help you, but I guess I wonder if there's anyway. I mean that's up to, I guess if you're keen
it's just hard to describe at this point, because I mean, I've got these cucumber tests, and in one scenario it's passing, and the other scenario it's failing. And basically, I believe that it's just simply ignoring the modal, but it's kind of hard to provide any proof of that other than
Sure.
like
But
logic.
what I notice is I think that you're very good with the verbal description of what's going on. And what I notice for me personally, and this may not be for other people, but for me is that it's very difficult for me to analyze a coding problem when it's described verbally. Whereas if
Oh,
I've
yeah,
got it written
sure.
down, then I
Yeah.
can suddenly provide huge loads more of help. And then particularly it's like if it can be broken up and so. Anyway, I mean, I think Michael and I should do our kickoff for the next thing. But yeah, I would love if you're willing to put together some more information on the facing there, but in particular, I say the link to the GitHub repo so that I could pull down the the version of your code and run
Yeah.
it
No,
locally on my
that's not
machine.
a problem. I can do
That
that
would be
probably
very,
within minutes.
cool.
But as I said, I mean, the thing about posting to Stack Overflow is by the time I got your message, I was already on like the sixth problem, and past that point. And since then, I've worked out about 20 other things basically, and it just seems like it just happened so fast that
Yes.
if it's a sticking point, it's like I've been stuck for 7 days, but I've been stuck on different things. Do you
Right.
understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So
Indeed. Well, and then also, of course, then you're relying upon your memory of all the different things that you were stuck on. And I think this is, I see
right.
this with a lot of people, is that they know that they've encountered things before. I mean,
I
for
agree
me,
with you there. I mean, one of the reasons, actually, oddly enough, that I wrote the post is just to kind of list the things that I had done. I mean,
right.
it's kind of like teddy bear pair programming, is just to
Yeah,
kind of get out
absolutely.
there, what you did.
Absolutely, because I think that's absolutely essential. And for some reason, if for some people though, it feels like pulling teeth, like even writing it down. Now, I mean, writing it down is the first step. I think the difficulty.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fantastic that Ashley responded to you with that.
Oh,
The
yeah.
difficulty
Yeah.
I found in Pet Talk is then that volume of text is, I think, difficult for people to digest. And
Yeah.
if it was me,
Yeah.
then I
No,
mean,
I
that's a great
understand what
volume
you're
to put on.
saying.
Yeah.
My background is, I mean, I used to write thousands of pages of documentation for every little thing that we
Right.
coded. All right.
Mhm.
And so to me, that's like, that's like a tiny, tiny bit of text.
Right.
But I guess, nowadays that's like a huge amount of text. So it's hard for me to kind of
Well, I think
adjust to a different culture.
Yes. Well, it's the I think in the context of if you look at the average size of the, and I'm on the extreme end of the scale of folks perhaps who are, I get complaints about the I write a paragraph of text in the text chat, but I think particularly in the text chat environments, I mean, it's also things get lost in the text chat environment. So it's like by being able to post in a link to something, it becomes discoverable in all sorts of other ways. So anyway, maybe we can talk about this more in the beta starters meeting. We should probably move on.
Yeah, no, it's no problem.
Kickoff
I just
now.
wanted to, I mean, my power came up just a few minutes ago. I've been unable to work all morning,
All right.
and I saw that there was a Scrum, so I just thought I'd duck in real quick, because if I'm not there later, you'll know what happened.
I will. Excellent. Yes. Well, yeah. And if you can get me that link before the pack goes out, even if you can't make the following meeting, maybe I can come up with a solution for you over the weekend.
Yeah, sure. Although, like I said, what I would really like to do is, with most of these things, if I could just find somebody to pair with who's faced this thing before, and that we could
Sure.
kind of, talk about it, and therefore I would get more understanding than just a canned solution.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, of course, a canned solution for me is not just going to be the solution. You know that I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you endlessly about all the details, but I totally hear what you're saying about
exactly.
the pairing. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, feel free to stay around for the website one kickoff now, Rose. But Michael, yeah, you've got a couple of items. You just want to talk us through the items that you're. Well, I guess before we get into, do you want to do, Michael, should we do a quick retro on how the process is going?
Sure. Let's go.
Any thoughts from you about? Well, starting with me, I guess I'm quite pleased this week that I've been able to catch up with some of the items. Like I clearly took on too much 2 weeks ago, so I've managed to get more done. I haven't. There's still stuff outstanding from before. I ended up spending most of my drilling a lot of time into local support and fixing issues there. So yeah, I mean, I like the process. One idea that we came up with local support is switching between doing kind of like having a sort of debugging focused in the weekly meeting, but then it alternates between being sprint kickoff and sort of like trying to cope with the fallout from the previous sprint, if you know what I mean. So that's because I think that there's a danger now that we're doing more voting on stories than we have capacity to process the stories. And that's not necessarily the end of the world, but to the extent that we vote on, like, say, for example, we vote on stories today, and then they can't get worked on for 5 or 6 weeks, then, like to a certain extent, the priority becomes making sure the stuff that we voted on recently gets sorted. Although, I don't know, does that make any sense?
I'm not sure what you're. I mean, the way that we're doing it is we're bringing tickets up, right, and they're being voted on. And
yes.
Then normally we work on those tickets like right away.
Yes.
And then depending on how busy we are that week, we may not finish all those tickets, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think we're doing like we did before, where we created a massive backlog of tickets that had been voted on, and we're just sitting around.
I think I'm more anticipating. I mean, I think the thing for me now, I mean, part of the reason I haven't brought any tickets is I'm still working through the previous ones, and there's ones that I voted on last week that, yeah. But anyway, but any thoughts from you on the process or how it should change?
Yeah, I think last week I only took one ticket, and then like I was gonna work on it, and then on Monday, Amber apparently did it.
Right.
And I was like, well, what should I do? But then there were some issues with her testing, so I fixed that. But that kind of worked.
Yeah. Go on.
Have you finished any tickets this week?
I have finished the SSL ticket this week. So
and that's
yeah, the SSL ticket is done. I mean, I've done the SSL ticket is done and deployed. I've also done the font size increase, and that's on staging. So it's like from a point of view of the pull request being merged, it's done. Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the 2 tickets that I completed this week, and then I kind of have the other tickets that I've taken from previous weeks. We've got this one about rejiggering the FAQ so that it pops open and closed. The other one about the getting started document, and both of those have sort of kind of overlapped with the marketing team's purview, and I'm kind of, yeah, I think that I've got to get the font size one. It's got to get done. It's yeah, I do need to finish that before I move on to the other 2.
And then the other thing is, I know you and Federico had suggested that you were that we were being too agile, almost.
Ah, really? Tell me more. I'm not following.
In that thread where he was commenting, where you were saying, oh, maybe we need venture capital to do a closed source pairing gamification framework. And he was like, actually, what you need to do is just commit to do it. He said,
yep,
that because you're trying to do like strict agile stuff, you're kind of just tweaking on the edges with like toy changes.
Maybe didn't see that.
It was in the thread at the end. He said, also, I think you're mirrored in toy projects and toy tweaks. An agile side effect, you need to be challenged to build something big. Not because someone else requests it, but because you want to build it.
Interesting comments. Yes, I hadn't read that until now.
So I guess the question is, like, how would we... So if you were to take an agile approach to gamifying, right? The agile approach would be to say, what's like the minimum survivable experiment that we could, like the smallest change or prototype, even if we were to prototype something, what is the smallest thing on the lowest amount of time that we could use to actually verify that there was any, that it would be of any value that anyone would actually care? Right? Isn't that what Agile would say? Like focusing on what's the smallest
survivable.
survivable experiment to confirm or deny your hypothesis that gamification would actually add significant value and grow the community.
Yes, it's a good question. I mean, and I guess there, when I'm saying gamification, what I mean is making it kind of seamless to take part. And so maybe I should be talking about the usability or what have you. I mean, there's a whole nexus of stuff there. Yeah, I guess if I state my hypotheses, my hypothesis is that people, the Google Hangouts as it stands, serves as, although you know, like with committed people, they can use it. It sort of stands as a barrier to certain people joining and participating. But I guess what I don't have,
Right.
have.
So I mean, even if we accept that, even if we accept that hypothesis, right?
Yeah.
That it does stand as a barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Someone could say, or it could be the case, that that's not actually a bad thing, right? That if you're not serious enough to get a Google account,
yeah,
maybe you're not serious enough to actually spend like any significant amount of time developing code, right?
Yeah, you could do, and I think what I also, to pick holes in my own approach there is.
I mean, it could be the case that there might be that like one person out of 100 that kind of like will be turned off by dealing with our tools, but would actually be like a great member.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to balance that with the amount of time wasted with the other 99 people. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I guess the difficulty, what I don't have is I don't have evidence that we've got, for example, you know, like 100 people landing on the Scrum page at the time at which the Scrum is about to go live, and that only one of them clicks through. You know, I sort of have these anecdotal things from what people have told me about the experience, what I've seen in certain situations. And what we do have is we do have things like, we have Rose here saying she would love to find a pair partner to work on this like thing for Rails, and we have here a pairing community, but we're not, somehow the system is Rose finding a pair partner to work on Rails. I mean, and she's coming into that hangout, and you know, we just have not so many people coming into the hangouts, and yet, so for example, I've gone recently into other Slacks like Rails Link and Greater Than Code, and started chatting with people like Ryder and Dimitri, and kind of drawn them into the point where they're both kind of ecstatic about us doing pairing, you know, on Ruby or Elixir. I mean, at the risk of getting pulled into what's saying, I mean, the toy projects there, it's actually, you know, like doing a pairing on Tennis Cutter with Dimitri is like doing market research on, you know, like, can we do this enjoyable thing? You know, Dimitri, who was initially reticent to recording it, you know, in the first one we just did a private thing, having had fun in the first one, he was happy recording and broadcasting the second one, and we all, you know, and Raphael jumped in, and you know, everybody had a good time. And the question I have is, why what's preventing that happening at a larger scale? You could say happen at a larger scale. People are not that number of people are ever going to want to be pairing. I mean, so I mean if we come back to your question about what's the test that we could do, at larger scale, I'm taking some notes. What's the test we could do that would, I don't know, can you, like, I can come up with hypotheses for what prevents us having a lot more of those things happening at the larger scale. And so, people are put off by public recordings, difficulty with the interface. There's like lack of certainty about skill of pair partner. What are the other reasons that we can think of why we don't have, hundreds of people coming in and sort of doing pairing and having fun in Agile Ventures?
Lack of critical mass.
Right. I mean, we've got this. The key thing here is that, like, there are people who come looking sometimes. So, like, Rose is looking. People come looking, but don't find. And so, we've got partial solutions to that, like me doing outreach and going and suggesting pairing and saying that it's available, and actually setting up, the pair things and it being broadcast and people seeing that that's happening. So there's, I mean, we can throw resources at, like at the problem of critical mass, but we've got to work smart and not hard, right, to find out other ways in which the critical mass can be achieved.
Right.
I mean, we've now got, this stream of people coming in through the Google AdWords, right? And we've got, a handful of new people in, it's sort of translating into, a couple of people into the Slack per day. The MOOC will start up again. There'll be more people coming through. There seems to be a, like, if we assume that people are coming into Agile Ventures and the idea of kind of pairing on open source nonprofit projects is at some level appealing, there's something that's preventing those people.
I mean, can you
go on.
Can you, with the Google AdWords, we can't actually time when they show, right? They're just running all day, and that's just like their business model.
I think we can do things like we can say have them happen at. We can certainly say like there may be the ability to curtail them.
Look, I was thinking, what if we made them basically only run within the close vicinity of the Scrum? Like at this Scrum,
right?
And have them point directly to the Scrum page.
Oh, okay.
And change the wording differently, like pair programming or something. And see if, like, all of a sudden you actually got anyone. Like, see if anyone actually clicked through.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we've got this thing. The thing that we have done, right, is that but for people who now land on the homepage and they're not signed in, we tweaked the wording so that it said, instead of saying Kent Beck or Martin Fowler Scrum, it says, next project's review meeting, come in. And as far as I can tell, that hasn't led to
anyone joining.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to double check with Pat about whether he's had new people in the Americas Scrum, but it's certainly at the. I mean, those are little survivable experiments. There's a good suggestion from you. Like
what I'm saying is, if we change the ads or had some portion of the ads, basically, or we had a campaign basically where we were saying people searching for there must be people searching for pair programming, right? On the
right. So well, the two things.
And to run an ad that says like pair program right now,
right,
or something like that. Join this awesome community, Agile Ventures, and get pair programming right now, and run it right around the time that Scrums happen, and see if we actually get anyone.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because we could also test with that whether anyone's actually like clicking on that ad. If there's any significant amount of traffic clicking on that ad.
Yes.
And then the other thing we could test is of that traffic that's coming in apparently with that, because we can assume probably if they're clicking on an ad that says pair program right now, that's of some interest to them, right?
Yeah, they want a pair.
And then we look at how many of them actually, like, we define success conversion as actually clicking on that link.
Right.
Like how many people actually do that?
Yeah, I mean, we could have it so that, for example, for that ad, people would click through, and it would land them on the Scrum page, and the Scrum page, and we. I mean, what's frustrating there is that clicking on the button to not start Hangout is no. We if it's updated, we could be checking if they click on the Hangout link, and we could adjust it so it says like join pair hookup now,
right?
And we could actually see, so hypothetically, if we did that, and let's say that we got, there was 10 people a day clicking on that link, but we saw nobody in the, so that would give us an indication that
maybe there was something with the site.
Well, if they've got through the site and they've clicked on the link, right, for the thing, and so we know because they clicked on the ad that they're interested in pairing. We know because they clicked on the link that they actually took, the
some
action.
Initiative. Yeah.
But then, right, either the Hangout didn't load for them, or they saw the big thing saying you might be being recorded, and the people that you don't know might watch you.
And then that turned them off, or they've figured out that they needed an account and that turned them off, or
right, or they needed to log into Google or what have you. But that would be highly indicative that we would need to switch the Google Hangout solution in order to make progress with those folks, wouldn't it?
I think it might give us evidence. Yeah. What do you think, Rose?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that last part. I mean, this is a really fascinating conversation. I'm trying to get my stuff pushed up to my GitHub. I'm sorry. So you threw around a few different experiments. Which was the last one?
Well, so the last one we're imagining that we take some of our Google ads and we would adjust the wording so that it was saying like pair with right now.
Yeah, actually,
online pairing right
really
now.
Effective. I mean, I know that's the number one thing that I'm looking for, because before, I just feel like, number one, I've got to get a backload of things taken care of before, say, I would be useful scrumming on Agile Venture projects. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, I think that's not true, but I understand you.
To get to that point, I need to do some serious pairing with someone other than my students. and at that point, then hopefully I could clear up a bunch of kind of backlog stuff that I have to deal with academically, and then move on to be more productive, not only at the university, but outside of the university.
Sure, no, that makes a lot of sense. But so the idea, Michael's gone on beyond. So the Michael's idea, which goes beyond the ad, that they would have that ad, that then when they clicked through, rather than just like landing them on the homepage and trying to get them to sign up or what have you, is we would point them directly to, right. So it was one, change the wording on the ad, was make sure that the ad is only displayed at the time when the Scrum is on.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
People would click on it.
Not only that, but before people sign up, let them have that experience.
Right. So the idea would be that they would the idea is that by adjusting the time of the ad, adjusting the wording of the ad, that people would be people who had been said, like you could pair online right now. So they click through and they immediately go, and they can, if they click the link to the Hangout, go straight into a live Hangout with us in the Scrum, and we could start talking to them. And the particular thing that I was just saying there at the end is that if we could then have the numbers from that, so we, like, let's say, you know, the ads were served on a given Scrum, we had, you know, on like the last 10 days, there have been 100 people who have clicked through on the ads. There have been 50 people who clicked through on the link to join a Hangout, but we only saw 2 people actually join Hangouts over that period. We'd be able to say something like, well, lots of people want to come into the Hangouts, but starting the Hangout must be causing some technical difficulty, or they're put off by the message from Google that says this will be publicly recorded. And so that would give us strong evidence to say we've got to move away from the current Google Hangout solution in order to make this work. Whereas if we did that and we only ever got in a month who clicked through on that, and I mean, then there's of course adjusting the times of the scrums. But anyway, that's so Michael sort of defined this joined up experiment, which involves changing the timings of the ads, the wording of the ads, where it links to, in order to try and see, you know, can we get more people into sessions ready and willing to pair?
And the key thing is that it requires very little code changes.
Yeah.
So it's very survivable.
And so Rose, I guess the question is, with the if all the different parts of the experiment are clear, does the experiment as a whole with the different moving parts make sense?
Absolutely. I'll tell you some feedback I get from my students is I think a lot of them see these ads and then think that they can immediately pair, and then they're confused when they can't. Because I've had students come back and say, well, I tried and I don't know, there didn't seem to be anything going on, or you know, well, of course they get confused very easily. Yeah.
But still, I mean, I think ultimately to be successful, we need a framework that you know, is almost. I mean, I think the thing is, once we can get somebody into a Hangout and we can talk to them and we can share screens, we can reduce that uncertainty and difficulty. And, you know, there's a friendly face and a person saying, oh yeah, you know, come on, we'll sort this out for you, whatever.
Absolutely. I mean, that I think is key.
Yeah.
That's the part that's missing.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess there's then the additional, we could do the whole thing and not get people coming through. The big factor there is the timing of the scrums. And, you know, what one could be doing it and finding people, nobody, because we were doing it, that didn't overlap with the right time portion. So there's other things to explore. Anyway, next week we're going to be looking at changing the times of the scrums, and we can be factoring. So I think that's a great suggestion. Were either of, I mean, you had these 2 tickets that you suggested. I mean, I think this thing you're suggesting here is absolutely fantastic. Should we look at the other 2 tickets that you wanted to?
Yeah, we can look at them real quick.
Yeah, let's do that.
I guess you can't share your screen, right?
Not easily, but so the tickets themselves are in the Slack where you posted them. Let's have a little look at these. So this 1614. I mean, I'll put the thing in the. Find what's going on here. But by the way, the whole NHS thing here is really exciting. Although there's not much software development necessarily involved in it, we're going to be able to do the whole agile process of, like, you know, user needs discovery and so on, with, like, you know, on a different scale than we've done it before with local support and so on. So for some reason I can't find the Hangout window. Yeah, oh no, there is. I've got it as one of the tabs. That's what's confusing me.
Plus now you'll actually have NHS as a client, right? So you'll be able to.
Yes, I mean, I think there's then for the from the marketing side to put NHS and then put the NHS logo and Wikimedia EDU. There's like, we start to be getting to a level where conceivably we'll be taken seriously. Okay, so that's 1614 is the issue there. So make call to action button color consistent with the nav bar. Yeah, great. That's from Federico. Okay, yeah, okay. It almost looks the same to me, but yes, I guess that's that. Should we have a vote?
No, that's his what it would look like, rather than the lighter blue that it is right now.
Okay.
He's suggesting that it.
Let me go to the homepage there.
Right now, I think it's like a bootstrap blue. It's like lighter.
Yeah, it's right.
And he was saying that with all the different colors on that page, it makes it look kind of like less.
Yeah. Right.
High end or whatever.
Well, the interesting thing is when you mouse over it, I think that the darker color again is.
Sure. I mean, yeah. Do you want to vote on this story?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just bringing up the waffle async voter because I was telling Raphael to come up. Raphael's looking for more stuff to do on the async voter project, and I was saying to him, it's not clear to me that we've got. This is a just call to action button color to match site. Okay, so that's there. Rose, did you want to join in voting with us, or you're site one channel? You let me see if I can get you in. Are you there? Oh no, you're not in there. Let me invite you to join. I'm just inviting you in to the website one channel on Slack.
Oh, okay.
And then we've got this async voting system that allows us to all press a button and vote on the. Have you seen that before?
Yes, I have. I haven't done it, but yes.
Well, yes. So that we were just describing this ticket, which is sort of changing the color on the button.
Yeah.
And was it one other thing? And yeah, or so the hover color and the normal color. But so then you can click whether you think this is a simple, medium, or hard taking.
Okay. Am I supposed to see something here?
Well, if you're in the website one channel, in the Slack.
Yeah, I'm in there.
So you're in Slack?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you scroll up, can you see?
Okay.
Like a
Sorry. I thought I was seeing a previous thing. Got it.
That's the one, because I invited you after I ran it. There we go.
Yeah. Sorry.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to reveal that. And yes, okay. So it looks like you.
So you voted twice. You committed fraud.
Oh, I'm sorry. I clicked on the wrong button. I do this thing with my cursor where I mean to click on one thing and somehow the other thing gets clicked. Sure. And I was talking to a guy at work, and he was saying that it's probably parallax because of our glasses. We think we're pointing somewhere and we're pointing somewhere else. But I don't know. He said he has the same problem.
Well, no, and it's interesting because I think we've just seen a feature because what we could do with is a way of canceling.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we've just seen a feature there, which I'm just going to add to. Well, so I think we've agreed that it's simple, and so we can I'll set that on the what have you. But so we've got a new feature, which Raphael was looking for a feature to work on async voter. So I think on async voter we've got the need to allow user to cancel their vote. I told him that if he came along to this meeting, we'd find a new feature to get there. Let's see if I get Slack command, allow user to cancel their vote. That might be quite a tricky one. Sometimes user has clicked wrong button and would like their vote, or maybe just have. I guess it would almost be easier to have their last vote count.
Yeah, I think
so,
that would work.
Maybe because you could have all sorts of like cancel buttons and whatever to like allow you to delete different things, but maybe best just to system only records users last vote. That can be discussed in the async voter meeting later in next week. Ooh, excellent. Okay. That's there. We've got the 1615. So this is now make entire hovered homepage circles clickable, as opposed to some small portion of them being clickable. Like I guess at the moment it's the read more is clickable. Okay.
I mean, I think his idea is that it would make it more discoverable that it's a link. Like I guess if you're on a desktop.
Right.
Like when
Yes.
it changes
Yes.
to the hand.
Yes. Yes. Indeed. There's no. I'm totally hearing that. I'm just trying to find the Hangout now in order to post the link in for that. That kind of makes sense. I mean, I guess if I just go back to turn on the analytics for the homepage, we can see that. Let's see. You're going to show me. Yeah, we're still getting 15% click through over the last. I mean, it's like 548 people have clicked on code. It's certainly possible that we'd get more people clicking through on all of them if they didn't have to navigate to the read more button. And of course, according to the other statistics, tell us that we should replace read more with learn more. But I almost can't bear it now. How everything in Google, like for every link everywhere, like just see it's all like learn more, learn more, learn more. Because there was that study that showed that people clicked through more on the learn more thing, and it just seems so inappropriate. Anyway, yeah, make the circles more clickable.
More
Go on.
positive than reading, right?
Well, yeah, but it's sort of in some contexts, it's like, you know, I am reading it, and I guess maybe I wouldn't care if I didn't know about the underlying study. But I guess with this one, we can vote on doing this. I guess there was another move to replace the circles with you know, a couple of sentences, but we kind of, which is, I guess, on the back burner, but we can still vote on this. And if somebody wants to do this, then that's great. Any other questions or discussion on this, voting on this, making the circles more clickable?
No.
All right. Let me find then the appropriate thing in the waffle board. This is 1615. And for some reason, it's not, so it has found it for it. Here is the link. So let's go to a vote, go in the Slack.
How about discover more? Would that
so
be
we go
even
voter,
more
make
Yeah.
circles.
enticing? Discover more?
Either explore or discover more.
Or experience more. Enjoy
Yeah.
more. Why not enjoy more? It's like
Enjoy more. Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
it's like
I like that.
Indeed, make circles completely clickable. Okay, so the vote is in there. Let's do that. We're all voted. Let's have a look. We're going to reveal the votes. Oops. And okay. So I'm the odd one out. I was just saying medium because I was just anticipating the, you know, like
HTML issue.
CSS, this, that, and the other, and so on. So, but I'm happy to go with simple for, you know, the time being. You know, and then discover that it's more difficult later on. Yeah. So let's put that in as a 1. Okay, that's our tickets voted on. I'm just kind of going back to look at the board there. So, well, we've got all these different so we've got, just to mention some other kind of things going on, the SSL stuff, it seems like Heroku might actually have some mechanism for auto-renewing our certificates. Like at the moment, we've got like 3-month certificates from Let's Encrypt. So there's kind of like there's like testing this special endpoint that I created to sort of like, you know, prove that the certs were valid. And I'm now not even sure if we actually need that. So maybe the test is not required. I guess that's less like more investigation. The other outstanding thing is the calendar thing. Yeah, and I guess I was sort of saying like maybe the calendar should just be or this like add to Google Calendar should just be a link. But it's failed on Semaphore. But I guess is the sensible thing here to just if this is now working and you've kind of fixed it to make sure that it's closed when it's when you first land on the page, I guess the sensible thing here is to just pull this in really and do it this way. What would you say, Michael?
Sure. The next ticket with that is to make it support repeating events.
Right. And then, you know, the iCal format and so
And
on.
then other formats can be added into the drop-down thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The drop-down is kind of an anticipation that we will have that thing. And then there's other elements in this that the you know, so Amber's added some elements to the request cache for various things. There's an argument about whether we should have some Jasmine testing of this. I guess any feelings on either of those two matters, Michael?
For what? Jasmine
Well,
testing of the JavaScript?
Yeah, there's two things that I could potentially say, like, that would be a block of merging it in right now. Is one, we've added this JavaScript, but we don't have any test for it, and two, like, a load of the fixtures from the Puffing Billy cache have been ignored, and you know, ideally they would be pulled in. Maybe I'm not sure. I mean, we're encountering I'm really conflicted about how the whole caching thing affects the development flow.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why she ignored that cache.
I suspect that she did it just because there were so many of them. I think I saw on local support that when the Bootstrap up 3 upgrade went through, had ignored the whole thing, and I think people, it's like you and I, as a result of like bashing our heads against it time and time again, have a pretty good understanding of how these caches are working, and what value we get from checking them in. But I think for other developers who maybe they do completely understand it, but my hypothesis is that they're making a change. They suddenly see this massive, huge loads of what looks like temporary files from their point of view. The natural reaction is then to just add them to the git ignore.
Right. I mean, you could just change that and remove them from the git ignore, and then run the thing and check them in.
Yeah, I completely. That's the simple short-term solution to that. I guess
And then about the Jasmine unit testing, I'm not sure that it's necessary.
Right. I guess the argument would be, yeah, the argument is that we've got a JavaScript-enabled acceptance test that's checking it, and so what does the Jasmine testing bias particularly? Yeah. Anyway, the whole thing is going to need to like rebuild as a function, so I'll moving that towards being merged in when we've got the semaphore CI passing.
I guess the thing with it is that we may want to tweak the acceptance test to make sure that it's obeying the visibility.
Right.
Like my step that I added actually does explicitly check that it's invisible. But I'm not sure whether Amber's find is going to find like an invisible element and then click it.
Yeah. I'll
so
take
it's
another.
Like not like doing. It's not really simulating what the user experience is.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I will have a closer look at it, and we'll see. Okay.
I think the key. Yeah, I think the key thing would be to. I think it's not. I think it's not because she's not clicking on it before. I guess the thing to get like a proper acceptance test would be check that it's not visible, right? Like we're doing. Then actually click the calendar links thing. Right. Then
yes.
See that it's clicking through. And then if you remove the click of the calendar links, does it fail? Like change that step so that unless you actually click the calendar link, like the thing that causes the drop down, like unless you do that, then you know that's really testing the visibility of it.
Sure. Well, if you want to make that change, that's great. Otherwise, if you've got that clear in your mind about how that would work, please, by all means, do that.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Well, I think we've kind of covered the critical things we need to cover, and I think it's also the time when we said we might have the beta SASA meeting. So I'm tempted to finish up this meeting and nip into beta SASAs, where I may or may not see.
All right. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, bros. Bye for now.
Yeah. Bye for now.